New comic book day is right around the corner, so let's see what's on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list. It's my weekly series where I take a look at all the books coming out. I'll tell you which ones I'm most excited for. We'll talk about some I might be a little behind on. We'll even talk about new series debuting and new trade paperbacks hitting the market for this week in comics, Wednesday, November 19th. It's a light week, but a stacked week. There's some exciting releases coming. Not to mention probably a follow-up to the most exciting single issue of the year. And we're going to get to all that. But first, let's talk about the books at the top of the pile. These are the books that I'm most excited to read based on my enjoyment of the previous issues of the run. And we're going to start things off with Temporal. Issue number 2, Temporal, written by Stephanie Williams. And the art on this series, clicked on the wrong one. Art on this is by Asia Fulmore, with beautiful cover by Torrin Clark there. But anyway, Temporal, a really cool creator-owned series from Mad Cave Studios. This follows a young lady named Savannah. Savannah, whose husband is named Marcus. Anyway, they met when they were a pair of time-traveling thieves working for like an organization that basically sells relics from previous eras on the black market, or what they call the Wayback Market. And so once they, got pregnant, had a kid, they decided to settle down and leave that life of crime behind. Well, maybe Savannah didn't want to leave it behind as much as Marcus did. And so a series of events happened in issue 1 that kind of put Savannah back on the prowl. And now she's out trying to prove to herself that she's still got it. I really enjoyed issue 1 for as much as this was an action-packed story. There was a lot of quiet moments that I loved a whole lot. But this series, by the time issue 1 wrapped up, you were reminded that this is going to be a fast-paced, high-stakes, heisty type book. And that's exciting. The prospect of it is exciting. I loved issue 1. I'm excited for issue 2. Cover price on it is $4.99. Next up at the top of the pile, might be surprising to some, but this is One World Under Doom, issue number 9. Exciting because it's the finale. We have been living in the One World Under Doom world for like pretty much all year at Marvel. And what I love about Marvel events is they tend to end with a bang that sets the tone for the next year of publishing. Now, will this be exciting? I don't know. I will say right now, Doom is a sorcerer supreme, and that mantle is going to change. And if you follow the solicits at all, then you know who's going to take up that mantle. How does it happen? What are the implications? What does it mean? I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that character who's going to take up the mantle. So I don't know what Marvel is going to look like for the next year, but I am excited to see this series through and, just enjoy it for what it is. Cover price on it is $4.99. Next up is Racer X, issue number 3. From Mad Cave Studios, this is written by Mark Russell with art by Nuno Plati. Now, I told you guys that issue 1 felt like a really good origin story, and it could have been a one-shot, and I would have been fine with it just being a one-shot. And I was wondering what they would do with the rest of the miniseries, since that kind of wrapped things up in such a neat bow. Well, once you get into issue 2, this series pretty much runs concurrently with Speed Racer. So you're almost getting the same story from 2 different vantage points. And together they build out that world of Speed Racer and kind of add the action with the emotional gut punches. This is really well done. I don't know. I guess we give props to Mad Cave editorial for this. But the point is, this Speed Racer and Racer X together being a really nice Speed Racer universe, I'm excited about it. I'm excited. Issue 2 was really good. Issue 2 went right along with the last issue of Speed Racer that I read. And I can't remember if that was 3 or 4 or where we are. The point is, these are great. It's like peanut butter and chocolate. I mean, they go together that well. They're also really good separately. Does anyone eat peanut butter by itself? Like, you would pair peanut butter with that's a tangent. This is such a tangent. Racer X is better than peanut butter. apparently. Cover price on that is $4.99. And that's the last book at the top of the pile this week. Not a lot of ongoing books that I'm crazy excited about, but that's okay because there's room for excitement in the segment we like to call On the Radar. These are new number ones, new series debuts, new jumping on points that I'm excited about in any given week of comics. And there is no bigger issue this week than DC Marvel's Batman and Deadpool issue number 1. Now, a couple months ago, we had the Marvel of DC Deadpool Batman. Now we've got the DC end of it with writers that you know and love from DC books. A lot of writers write for both companies or whatever, but the creators on this side of things are more known for DC. For example, Grant Morrison teaming up with Dan Mora to do a Batman Deadpool story. That's really interesting. There are several other crossovers happening in this issue, not the least of which for me is Static teaming up with Ms. Marvel. And no disrespect to Ms. Marvel or G. Willow Wilson, who's writing it, but like Miles Morales was right there. We could have had Static teamed up with Miles Morales, and maybe that was just too obvious a connection. Maybe the comparisons will be too great because their personalities are too similar. I didn't know, but I would have liked to see Miles Morales teamed up with Static. It's all good. What I am excited about, like I said, G. Willow Wilson, who created Ms. Marvel, is writing it, and Dennis Cowan, who co-created Static, is drawing it. So that'll be fun to see Dennis Cowan on interior pages. But I'm definitely going to be mourning what could have been because it was right there. It was right there. Anyway, Batman Deadpool number 1 is a $7.99 one shot, and let's look. Let me just go ahead and look because there's a bunch of variant covers, and I'm like, which one would I want? Is there a cover featuring Static and Ms. Marvel? Because that would be the obvious choice. I don't see one. There's Zatanna with the Scarlet Witch. There's a Lee Bermejo that looks really good. Nick Dragata's got a cool variant with Absolute Batman with the Punisher? So there's some cool variants. That Jim Lee, that's probably the one. Batman and Wolverine by Jim Lee. That's iconic. But variants are going to cost you an extra $1, by the way. $7.99, like I said, for the standard A cover. Next up on the radar is The Lion King, issue number 1. The Lion King, written and drawn by my man, Edwin Galman. Edwin Galman, who you should know because I've said his name a million times. Most recently, he had some interior pages on the Mr. Terrific Year 1 miniseries. To my knowledge, this book will be the first time he is drawing full interiors on a complete single issue, let alone a complete series that he is also writing. I'm so excited for this. This is set in, if I remember correctly, in like the early days of Simba and Mufasa being, a thing. So Mufasa's not dead in this book, I guess is the point. And hey, like I said, I'm excited. I've been loving the Disney Dynamite stuff for the last 2-3 years now. I've been loving Edwin Galman on the variant covers for Stitch and then the A covers for Stitch. And I'm very excited to see what this Lion King book looks and feels like. Cover price on it is $4.99. Next up from Robert Kirkman is Capes, issue number 1. Apparently this is a thing that came out at some point before. It's spinning out of the Invincible universe, but it's back and remastered and redialogued and whatnot. I don't know. There's a lot of Invincible spin-off stuff going around. Like, for example, we're getting the Astonishing Wolfman and another Kirkman series. It's not Science Dog, but the point is we're getting 2 compendiums this week full of Invincible spin-off material. So, I heard you like Invincible, so I put an Invincible in your Invincible so you can Invincible while you Invincible. Cover price on Capes number 1 is $3.99. Next up is Mickey Mouse, issue number 1 from Fantagraphics Press. I've been loving these Disney comics. Generally speaking, Disney comics are printed overseas, like the classic Disney stuff, Mickey, Donald, Uncle Scrooge, and so on. Generally speaking, that stuff gets printed or created overseas, and then it has to get translated into English for us to enjoy. And Fantagraphics gets to like steward that process. And up until now, until very recently, I had not seen a single issue Disney comic from Fantagraphics, but they just recently printed a new Uncle Scrooge story, and that's now ongoing, following like classic legacy numbering. And the same is happening with Mickey Mouse. Now, what I'm not clear on is if this is a comic that already existed in another language and is now being translated for the English audience, or if this is like brand new editorial content from Fantagraphics. My guess is it's the former, because I feel like any new Disney stuff would be through Marvel. So either way, this stuff is done so well. I've been going through This Looks Like a Job for Duck Avenger, and I don't know, I'll talk about that in a different review. The point is, I'm very excited to see what this Mickey Mouse comic looks like. Cover price on it is $5.99. Next up from Marvel is Nova Centurion, issue number 1. This is written by Jed MacKay, and I'm assuming this spins out of the events of Imperial. But I don't know. Richard Rider is a hero for hire, apparently, from the description that I read. I should read this to see what it's all about, because I don't have such a blind spot for Marvel Cosmic, but I also know my comfort zone in any book isn't really very cosmic oriented. So I don't know. If I'll branch, I might branch out. I may not. Cover price on it is $4.99. And the last book on the radar this week comes from Tyler Kirkham. This is Final Boss, issue number 1. So since I got into comics 6 years ago now, the words Tyler Kirkham variant have come up so often that like you might have thought variant was that dude's last name. But no, Tyler Kirkham just draws a lot of variant covers. I'm very excited to see what a Tyler Kirkham interior page looks like, especially on a book that he is basically creating himself. He's writing it, he's drawing it, he's got some people coloring and lettering and all that stuff. But it looks interesting. About a mercenary type dude. Was it a mercenary? Don't start me lying. I don't remember anymore. Now I gotta look it up. Final Boss, issue number 1. High octane classic action story. Yeah, he uses his newfound powers for various paid enforcer gigs and street fights, only to uncover a past far more complex than he ever imagined. Sounds cool. Sounds cool. I really like that cover, and that's all I got to go on. Cover price on that is $4.99. And that's it. Those are all the books on the radar and all the new series that I wanted to discuss with you guys today. But if I'm going to make room for them, then I got to check to see where I stand on my budget. And as it stands for this week of new comics, I'm picking up 11 books. That includes The Lion King number 1 and Mickey Mouse number 1 and the Batman Deadpool number 1. So those are all on my pull list already, waiting for me at Fight or Flight Comics. And so I got 11 books totaling $55.04, which means I don't have room for anything else. I try to stick to $50 a week as the budget. So let's talk about what else is in the box and if there's any wiggle room to maybe shift some things around to make room for Final Boss number 1. First up is The New Gods, issue number 12. This is going to be the end of the first kind of go around for Ram V's New Gods book. Quite honestly, I stopped following the story a while back, but I apparently forgot to tell my LCS not to pull it for me. So I figured I'd keep it going through issue 12. And ultimately, those books are going to sit in a short box while I read it on DC Universe Infinite for my year-end reviews. How's that for transparency? $3.99 cover price on that. Next up is Space Ghost, issue number 5 from David Pepose. This is another one that I'm a little bit behind on, but I do know that I have a review copy sitting in my inbox right now, so it'll be easy to catch up. Cover price on that is $4.99. Next up is The Ultimates, issue number 18. This being the final countdown, the last issue of the series before the Maker returns. I need to get caught up on the Ultimate Universe. The fact that it's ending definitely lost it some steam with me. But Ultimate Luke Cage is coming back, so that'll be fun. Cover price on that is $4.99. Next up, The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 125. It's still on the pull list. $3.99 on that. And finally, Wonder Woman issue number 27. If I'm not mistaken, no, this is the second to the last issue of this Mouse Man story arc. I am so over this Mouse Man story arc. After issue 28, Tom King's taking a break for a couple of months, and my homie Stephanie Williams is going to be writing 2 issues of Wonder Woman, which makes her the first Black woman to write a solo issue of Wonder Woman in the main title ever. That's crazy to have that type of first in 2026. But all this to say, I'm very, this current story arc has not been my jam. So I'm excited for the breath of fresh air that's coming in January. And then hopefully when Tom King and Daniel Sampere come back to the book, it's with some new energy. Cover price on that is $4.99. And that's it. Those are all the books that are in my box waiting for me behind the counter at Fight or Flight Comics in Raleigh, North Carolina. The best LCS in the world. You don't believe me? Well, just go visit and see for yourself. Now, it's time for the final segment of the show. It's one that I like to call Trade Waiting. This is where I go over all the new books coming to the book market and the direct market in the trade paperback format. I just happen to have a bunch of trade paperbacks in front of me, right? So shout out to whoever won this prize pack last week. But a trade paperback is like this. Collects, 5 to 6 issues of a story, and usually at a pretty discounted rate compared to the single issue. So if you are not a Wednesday warrior like me, you can still go to Barnes & Noble. You can go to your local comic shop, or you can go online to panelboundcomics.com, one of our channel affiliates, and grab some books. Grab all the stuff that I discuss here, starting with Absolute Martian Manhunter, Volume 1. What is this? Is the story arc literally called The Martian Mind Effort? This is Dennis Camp and dang. Sorry, I couldn't do you like that. It's Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez. This is like the most mind warpy of all the Absolute books, the most different. But very cool, very cool. It does stuff with the medium that's like, you got to see this book in print. So I'm very excited about that trade paperback hitting the market this week for $17.99. Or if you prefer the hardcover format, then $24.99. They both come out the same day. Next up is Geiger, Volume 4. Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, they've been doing Geiger for quite some time. This, if you are keeping track at home, is technically the second volume of the newest Geiger series, if I remember correctly. There was Geiger Volume 1 that would have had like 7 issues, then Junkyard Joe and all that. Then there was a second volume of Geiger, which would have been, okay, so this is the third Geiger book overall. No, it can't be, because it's Volume 4. The point is, Geiger volume numbers don't go like you think they do. This Geiger Volume 4 does not collect up to 20 issues of Geiger. It collects, I'm over this. I'm over trying to explain it. Just know there's more Geiger if you like Geiger. Cover price on that is $16.99. Shout out to Ghost Machine. And next up is Action Comics Superstars Volume 2. If you remember, there was the Action Comics Superstars program where a, superstar creative team did a quick story arc on Action Comics. So this one has John Ridley doing a 3-part story, and then G. Willow Wilson has a 2-part story, which Gavin Guidry did the art for. All of it was actually pretty good. I'm actually not mad at John Ridley's story on that. So cool trade paperback. Cover price on that is $17.99. And the last trade paperback we'll talk about is Lost Fantasy, Volume 1. This is written by Kurt Piers, who I had on the Comics Are Dope podcast to talk about this series. So if you want to know more about the series, check out that interview on the podcast channel. But then read it. It's like a police procedural. It almost is like I was just watching Men in Black. And there's definitely where Men in Black is very sci-fi police procedural. This is very fantasy police procedural. So really cool stuff there. Cover price on that is $16.99. And that's the last trade paperback we are going over. Sorry, Ghost Machine. I was trying to explain Geiger. I got lost in the sauce. We should probably explain that better for the folks at home in the comments. Other than that, I'm excited about New Comic Book Day. Let me know in the comments what you're most excited for, and I'll see you in another video soon. Until then, Stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.